Welcome to part 2 of this. Should I call it an expose? Whatever this is. Telling the truth. Yes, from my lens. Yeah, so like I was talking about the conspiracy theory from last week. Okay, so I'm not even sure of our specific number, but my batch, I think we were, let's say, I'm not saying the specific, I'm not sure, maybe the value I'll give is wrong, but then let's say my batch, we are 321. The batch after us was also exactly 321. When I heard it, I was like, that cannot be a coincidence. We might see it as a coincidence, but I don't see that as a coincidence. And what happened after I heard of their number solidified my perception that it wasn't a coincidence. So we were 321. They're also 321. Is it possible that I'll ask this question later on. So we somewhere in February 2024, that was, I think we had a Zoom meeting as usual, and we were told that the clearance was in. We were so relieved. So now we can all rest on this social media back and forth, because it's stressful, it's tiring. You need to keep up the momentum, make sure people are aware of what is going on. People are retweeting, people are sympathizing, people are angry, people are fighting, people are talking about it. Like, the traction needs to happen. It needs to get to some level of traction, and it's so much work. Then ready is we had this meeting. You told us the financial clearance was in, and we had one of the leaders actually saying they had seen the clearance with their own two eyes. Then later on we were told that there was a mistake in the clearance. Mistake? For the way? Mistake? Ha! Mistake? They said yes, there's a mistake. What mistake? They said the date. Ready is the date. Lord Jesus Christ of Nazareth. The date on the clearance. Instead of saying June 2023 as the day for starting the housemanship, which we could say that it's a backdated pay. The date, 2023. The date said 2024. So they said it cannot be given to us. It has to be given to the batch after us. And that really makes sense to us, because if they're saying it's just a date, it is a typo. Go and tell them to untype it, retype the whole thing, and write 2023. That's as simple as this one, because you can't tell me that the date is a mistake. Hey, mistake on official this one, so it cannot be rectified, it cannot be changed. Like, no, because the payments, this one for that one, they've structured in such a way that it's going to come every month, and that will mean that we will have to literally start the housemanship because we cannot be paid while we are at home. And we're like, nah, but we still worked either ways. So whether they're going to pay us monthly or not, we want the clearance like that, or they're going to change the date. And they're like, no, it's not possible. And we're like, it's not possible, it's just dates. I trying to tell us that official government official letters, if there are mistakes in it, they can't go back and rectify those mistakes. So if those mistakes are going to kill, if they've written a letter that has an order that says, let's say, 500,000 Ghanaians are going to be murdered, they can't go back and go and change the thing. Maybe they were supposed to write 500 Ghanaian. They were going to write 500 Ghanaian chickens are going to be, let's say, slaughtered in honor of, let's say, Republic Day. Then they go and write 500 Ghanaians. They forget the chicken, and they write 500 Ghanaians are going to be slaughtered in memory. They can't go and change it. Are we kids? Are we children? Are we nearly 2 kids? And then you can't go and change it. The lies. that was what they told us. And we're like, someone from up there, told us that they had seen this clearance with their own two eyes. So where is this coming from? It's not making sense. So it was at this point that it solidified my conspiracy theory that they found means and ways to be able to cut down the batch of terrorists. This is just my theory. I'm not saying that's exactly what happened. I'm not saying it's true. This is what I think, my thoughts. They found means and ways to cut down the batch of terrorists too, so it could be exactly our number, so they can give the clearance to them. As to the reasons why, I don't know. There were rumors, emphasis. There were rumors that some of the heads, be it in government, be it in pharmacy, wherever, had their children or their relatives in that batch. And knowing that there's a high possibility they will not win the upcoming election, they wanted to make sure that their children or their relatives or whoever they know and who are in that batch are kind of like set before they move on. That was the rumor that I heard. I don't know how true it is. Well, and then I'm about to say, but my conspiracy theory was that's true. My conspiracy theory, it ties in with my thoughts on the whole thing, because make it make sense. It legit doesn't make sense. And do you know, when we move on, we will get to understand some of the dynamics of these things. Like, as I say, dynamics, we'll get to understand some truth be which debunked all this thing. So in this meeting too, they told us, this is information that some people are not privy to, and I'm going to make it privy to everybody. They told us it was a meeting, and every single IREX 22 member who was in that meeting would verify what I'm saying, would collaborate with my story. They said that the clearance that had come was also permanent clearance, permanent working clearance. So IREX 23, the batch of Sarahs, when they are done with their housemanship, those who would want to work in Ghana Health Service will choose to stay. And those who would not want to would leave. Then the 3 or 4 batches, there's 3 batches now, the 3 batches who are home, who haven't been posted into the Ghana Health Service, will now come and fight for whatever slots will be left. Basically, that was what was said. Literally, that was what was said. And every IREX 22 member who was in this meeting will collaborate with us with the story. They literally told us this. And this was one of the reasons why they said they cannot give this one to us, because that means we would have to work. We have to do like 2 years housemanship. And that is not possible. So then they can't give it to us, because that is what this one was saying. The permanent, the clearance, that was the conditions that came with the clearance. So that means they told us they're now going to start our process all over again. Meaning that all that they've been doing since January 2023 to like February 2024 has gone down the drain. We are now going to wait for 1 more year and 1 more year plus to be able to get our clearance. Basically, that was what they were telling us. There was a lot of back and forth in that meeting, and the meeting ended. So we went back to social media, we went back to TV stations to go and make noise again. And we were hearing certain things from our older pharmacists, like they were not kind of like in line with us. They were saying certain things like that were not true. Things like, why are we demanding for this one when we decided to start the housemanship? And it was consistent. It wasn't like 1 or 2 people who said it. Was consistent. And we realized that apparently that's the information they've been fed. Instead of telling them the truth that they were the ones who proposed that we should start the housemanship so that they'll avoid backlog of pharmacy graduates, they went out to tell them that we chose to start. And they propelled this information to even places where we were present. They said these things, that we chose to start. So it is we brought this upon ourselves in a sense. in a sense, dissociating themselves from the mess that they've created in the first place. Well, so like I said, we went back to TV stations and all that. Then there was a lot of heat. One of our heads was called on TV station, and this person went to say that if we say we are suffering, we are lying. Hey, that thing, the way it hit my chest, it was like, what does it say? He said something along the lines of, in this life, you need to prepare for what is to come. So you knew this was going to come, so you need to prepare. I'm not like, are you literally our head, like one of our heads? Like, you go on TV, and even the radio presenter was shocked that this was said by a prominent person in the pharmacy franchise. How can you tell your young ones like this? How? And you when you started working, you had to wait for about 6 to 8 months before your first pay came, so we should also exercise that same level of patience. When you started working, that was 20 years ago. Some of us were not even born. 25 years ago, some of us were not even born. You had to wait for about 8 months for your first pay. 25 years plus down the line, people are still waiting for about, now it's even worse, for over a year before they get paid. And you are saying they should keep quiet. Instead of you to work hard to make sure that the system gets better and these things don't happen 25 years down the line, it is worse than it was before, and you are proud of it, and you are saying we should have patience, exercise patience instead. Whilst you sort of calling out whichever people are in charge to actually do their work. You are making us like there's this thing in the whole pharmacy hierarchy that gives off, we are adults, you are kids, so keep quiet and let us do what we have to do. Because the level of inconsistencies and the level of oppression and the level of unfairness and selfishness is bad. There are certain basic things that other health workers are getting, irrespective of their level. That in pharmacy, they will tell you no. You not that you are not going to get it to. You won't have it until you get to a certain level. I'm not going to go into the specifics, but this is something that in the past every pharmacist used to enjoy. Every pharmacist working in a particular sector, I'm talking about a particular sector, those who know, that particular sector used to enjoy those benefits. And literally, I was recently I heard this thing that it was order from the top pharmacy from Pennyphone gave that order that lower pharmacists should not benefit from that. So it was scraped off. They wrote it to the institutions that were paying these benefits, to cut them off of it, and it was scraped. This is the kind of hierarchy we have. How dare you defy us? How dare you speak against us? How dare you put our dirty laundry out there? It is my dirty laundry. Me nice, I come and sit outside and wash my laundry. What is your problem? Just because what I do woman, I shouldn't come and wash. I will wash. It is my own detergent. It is my own water. I will wash. I will hang it on the dry line for everyone to see the dirty laundry that I've washed. Because how can you tell me the story? How can you legit tell me the story? Later on in the year, I might not get to some of the time. Some things might have happened before others, but then, well, it still sums up to the whole story. So later, that's his story. So the whole reality that I left. Later on in the year, we had a meeting at Osu, one place, one conference room or something of that sort. That's a conference room, a meeting hall in a sense, where we're supposed to meet the Ministry of Health and our Pharmacy Council leaders, like our leaders in a sense. Prior to that meeting, some of our reps went to see the Minister of Health. The Minister of Health wasn't around, so it was the Deputy Minister who was around then. So we had booked an appointment and everything. There was about time to go and have the meeting, right? Just before we went to have the meeting, this was before the meeting happened. Someone from Pharmacy Council came there and went to have a meeting with the minister before us. Quite shady. And all this while, yes, all this while, I want to reiterate this fact. All this while, We had been asking what was done, and we saying we are working on it. Working on what? They won't give you the specifics. And funny enough, when we are able to hear of a thing or two outside what we've been told and we confront them, then they are not coming to give explanations. And we said this, and this was said, and this was done, and this was done. Why didn't you tell us right from the beginning? We had to go and hear things outside before you come and give us clarification. No, you make clarification. Before you come in, because I felt most of those things they were telling us were lies, and truly they were lies. So we had a meeting. That was after. Yes. So after the whoever from Pharmacy Council met the Deputy Minister of Health, he left, and our reps went to have a meeting with him. And from the discussion that was happening, the Deputy Minister was in a sense shocked, because what whoever came from Pharmacy Council to say was worlds apart from what we were saying. In a sense, the person came to lie and paint us black. And there were certain things, it was not specifically from that meeting, but there were certain things that were said that were along the lines of, they shouldn't allow us to come to them directly. We should pass back. We should go to them so they come to Ministry of Health. We shouldn't come to Ministry of Health Finance directly. In a sense, that was the kind of conversations that were going on. And unfortunately for them, they told us that this was what your people came to tell us. Well, so back to the meeting at Osu, where they came to gaslight us, they came to lie to us, they came to tell us we shouldn't go to TV stations, we should keep quiet, we should sit down, they are working on it, blah 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 blah. And yes, they told us that they told us the directive for giving the clearance to the batch after us came from MOH. They claim it came from MOH. Yes, I say they claim because later on we are going to refute that claim. They claimed that it came from MOH. They said it came from MOH, so they couldn't do anything. So MOH that gives a directive of who we are supposed to give the clearance to, which means it doesn't make sense, because you go and tell them that these are the people we want clearance for. Their number is this. They completed this. Blah 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 blah. Wouldn't it be Ministry of Health this one to take what you've said into consideration? Because you are the one who in a sense, they are under you. So you tell us we should give it to these people. We listen to you, then we do so. Why would Ministry of Health feel that it is wise to skip a batch? Think about it. That's the wise thing that Ministry of Health thinks. We should skip this batch and we should give it to the next batch. Then maybe years down the line, we might think of giving it to them. Basically, that's what they were telling us. That's what Ministry of Health, in their wisdom, thought. Great. On my papa nie, I'm buying papa. Read this. Hey! Well, going on. So, yes. This man, I was talking about the man, the one who was called on the TV stations and stuff. There were other things he said. I want to mention them. That we are students. Why do we want salaries? House officers, we are not students. We are pharmacists like you. Just like we are not on the permanent register yet. Even by then, we were on the permanent register, so we are like pharmacists just like you. So we are supposed to get our monies. Be it salary, be it incentive, whatever. We are supposed to get them. He told us if we say we are suffering, we are lying, because in those 6 years, who took care of us? Then we are saying, can those people who took care of us in those 6 years take care of us after? Hey, are they in our homes to know if our parents are well to do or not? You don't know the kind of sufferings that people are going through. That's this person was sitting somewhere on TV and saying all these things. But you're like, I got to a point, I was asking myself, what wrong did we do to this man or these people in particular that it looked as if they hate us so much? Because when they go outside and they are not seeing us, the kind of things they say, when they come at us and they are talking to us, hey, as if you are my children, you are my sons and daughters, you are my grandchildren. Like they be giving those vibes. And when they leave, ew, these people, who are they? Who do you think they are? No. Oh! So, we decided to go to court. Yes, we chose to go to court because not to take Pharmacy Council to court, not to take PHAs to court. We don't have any issue with them at that point. Right now, we had that, but by then we had finished our housemanship. We were home. People had started doing whatever they had to do with their lives and stuff. And some people had even traveled, left the country because they felt there was no hope. Right. And so we decided to go to court. Take Ministry of Health to court. So that we found our lawsuit and all of that, all those processes. We had a law firm who were going to take us through the whole thing pro bono, which was great because, and the law firm believed that we were going to win the case because looking at all the facts and everything was against us for no reason. So they decided to do it for us, take the case up pro bono. There were a few court sessions here and there, and also prior I heard this, I don't know how truthful it is or the truth in it, but I heard that the batch after IREX 23, that was IREX 24, that's like 2 batches after us, they had a meeting with them and they were telling them that it was our fault that we chose to start the housemanship before the financial clearance came. That was why. And I was like, after all these years, and because we are not in the meeting, they keep on, and it's weird. How can you think that we don't know people in that batch? We know people in that batch, and they came to tell us that this is what your people were saying, and is it true? Because they heard different. Now, I don't know why there was that hard. So much work was put into turning others against us and making them look like the angels. How they could have put that energy into working on the clearance. So we went to court, like I was saying, and it was low key. We didn't make noise about going to court. Yeah. But then I think was it prior or during the court? One of them. Sheldon, we all remember Kojo Sheldon's good deed that he did using his platform to talk about our issue during the campaign period, as one of Baomien's campaigns, whatever. And it went viral, it went far. People, now it got so much traction. People started talking about it. People insulted us. We'll never get our money, blah blah blah. Yeah, but and we are against the government. That's why we are doing this. Just pay me. Let me waste my time with you. I'm against the government. Well, and it was then that Bawumia said that this is one of the situations where I was saying, no, I have something more on this one. I'll say that one before this one. So one of our associations, this one is for young farmers. I'm not saying it's, I won't I won't mention the specific name, but it's for young farmers citizens. And there was was a televised meeting with the incoming and outgoing ministers of health, and all the heads of the health sectors and the leaders of associations and all that went there to ask certain questions pertaining to their people. And as a rep or a leader of like young pharmacists or something, you had this chance. I think there was 3 or 4 questions to ask questions that would at least should pertain more to who you are representing. And the questions had nothing to do with us, had nothing to do with IREX 22 who had a page. The questions were, I think one that still I remember vividly was a waiver on importation taxes, especially on cars, because the medical doctors have a certain discounted waiver on the importation taxes. So they would want I think it had been proposed to the ministry before, and they wanted to, I think, to get feedback on it or something of that sort. And we were like, and in a sense, in their defense, they came to say that they were asking on the page that we should go with them, who they needed some of us to come to join them, or at least one person to join them. And even though we're not doing anything, when we realized it was televised and we could call it in, we were at home calling. People were at work calling, and none of us, our calls, none of our calls went through. They didn't pick any of our calls. So we were not able to ask our questions, unfortunately. And you, the one who was using the word advocacy in our ears every 2 seconds, you advocated for us. You went to stand there. Let me go back to the Bawizi, this one. So with Baomia's situation, it was one of the things that opened our eyes to the fact that these people were lying to us, like seriously lying to us, and they were not telling us everything unless we hear something from outside. They told us they had, prior to Kojo Sheldon and Baomia's discussion, confrontation in a sense, they told us that they had had a meeting with Ministry of Health and the MPP heads, of which Baumia was present. Then the vice president was present, so they've had a discussion, and so it made us a bit hopeful that at least if the one who was the running mate of the MPP, who might be the president, would at least do something to gain some political points with our case, right? So tell me why Baumia, His Excellency, said that he wasn't aware. He wasn't aware that 321 pharmacists had not been paid. So then we went back to give them what was duly theirs. Give them back, front, left, right, center. And there was then, and they told us that yes, Baumia was there. His Excellency Baumia was there for the meeting. But miraculously, I'm adding the miraculously, just getting to the point where they were about discussing our situation, Baumia left the meeting. He had somewhere to be, so he left. And they were never able to discuss our meeting, our situation with. They discussed it, but he specifically wasn't present. So then why do you come and tell us you had a meeting with Baumia and this one and you told them our problem? Why did you leave out the fact that Baumia wasn't there when you mentioned that? So this gingered us to even push the court aspect, and we did with full vim. So at the court, we settled the whole case out of court. But looking at how things were going, we would have won. There were situations where the representative lawyer for the government didn't come for some of the courts proceedings, so they had to reschedule the courts. Ghana court, and then we had adjourned to 2 weeks, adjourned to the end of this month, adjourned to one. It was a whole thing. But then there's one thing. Yes, in the previous one I mentioned. No, I think in this one I said there was something I was going to refute. Yes, there was something I was going to refute, and I am going to refute it right now. The Attorney General, who is the representing lawyer for the government, stated emphatically and on record that there was no mistake in the clearance. Hello? Are you hearing me? So now this ties in with my conspiracy theory. The AG said emphatically and on record and categorically that there was no mistake on the clearance, that there was nowhere that the clearance cannot apply to RX22, because that statement, our lawyers mentioned that statement in court, and the AG denied that was not true. There was no true. And there was, so like, which evidence, what were they basing on to say that they cannot give us that clearance and they had to give it to the next batch? Like, dream. So it ties in with my understanding that it was a deliberate action. They deliberately made it seem that they can't give it to us and they give it to the next batch, right? So like, how evil can you be? How evil can you be? And it was like, and I'll give it to them, and blah 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 blah. These people too, it wasn't like they were paid every month. They were paid like monthly. The money came in 2 batches, like in 2 bulks. So it could have been given to us and would have received it in 2 bulks, like this. So, and then it has to be given to them, and now in their write-up, they are taking up a larger part of the glory, and the advocacy. We met the Minister of Health this year. I don't know if I should say this. Okay, with it, I won't say it. I won't say it. I will say something else. What I would say is, even till this year, that even our situation where we had we had led the full force, a larger part of the force, to get the Ministry of Health on board, right? We were still being told that these people had gone to have meetings with the Ministry of Health, and they didn't even mention us. And the Minister of Health was surprised that you people have unpaid pharmacists. You come here with a long list of things to discuss, and they are not even on that list. So, like, we're in a sense, we are like that back case. We are like that back case, and they are moved on, and we had to go and do all the fighting for ourselves. And they'll come and write all these long things, claiming a larger part of the glory for ourselves, and giving us like 2 lines. The hard work of RX and Sue Batch, 2 lines to recognize our efforts. Basically, that. And yes, they are trying to say they did all of that, and we just came to put fairness in. They cooked the whole soup, and all we did was to stir it. Basically, that's what they are saying. Like, really? Are you kidding me? And this is the electoral science. Things had been done, people had signed certain things, and everything was literally almost ready. There were certain people who were supposed to, like, there is a process. People were supposed to forward certain things, or sign certain things, or do certain things along the line. And these people were deliberately sitting on it. All because they had certain ties with certain people in the pharmacy hierarchy who were not pleased with how things were going and didn't want things to go as smoothly as it was. And they were, instead of obeying their actual leaders, they were obeying people they had ties to, and were deliberately sitting on certain things. And that one too, the Minister of Health had to come inside to professional Ben and me. So I'll use this chance to say it again. I've been saying it a very long time on those who follow me on Twitter. I used to say it a lot, and even in my podcasts I say it. Do not read pharmacy in Ghana. Pharmacy is not a bad profession. It's a very good profession, a very eye-opening profession. Like, not in terms of bad character and all that, but in terms of health. It's an area of health that people, unfortunately in Ghana, it's really undermined, but it's a really, really, really key part in the whole health service, whole health process aspect. Like, it's really, really, really important. It's really, really key. It really stands out on its own. But in Ghana, it's so underappreciated. The leaders are not even helping you to appreciate it. They're making the things harder for you because they had it hard. So you also need to suffer. I suffered, so you suffer. That mindset is there. They don't help you. They don't push you. It's more of ankonam. So when I had a discussion with my boss once, and he was like, "You people are going on. You people, like, what are you people talking, like, the hiring of pharmacists in the government sector thing?" He was like, "Why are you people doing this?" And it was like, for you pharmacists, whenever you see pharmacists doing this, then there's a financial gain at a point for someone. Like, it's now very even difficult to believe that pharmacists will do something out of true intentions, because it's like, you'll be unfound. And in all these things that I'm saying, the association, GOSPA, I'm mentioning this association because GOSPA, that's the Association for Hospital Pharmacists. They never said a word. About this whole thing. They never, like, that we stand in solidarity with house officers. Nothing. 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 Till we were so the whole process was almost done. That was when they came to they were writing a write-up be about something. I've forgotten what it was. And they added us to that write-up. Prior to that, nothing. The time that we were working, nothing was said. Nothing. Ah! So like I was saying, the associations that you join that you think that they will help you, oh, the leaders are there chopping money and you are suffering. They don't care about you. Pharmacy, most of the pharmacy, these ones are more about talk, little to no action. It's like that's almost be, and the leaders not far almost to be. It's a very toxic profession. You enter into pharmacy in Ghana, you find a very safe space for yourself, a very safe path for yourself that you can mind your own business, work hard, get your money, and live. And you do so. But if you decide to mix yourself with any money, people who had the professional heart, hardworking to give this profession a facelift, grew tired and weary of the drawbacks and the and they had to leave the country. They are now giving all their expertise and all their knowledge and all their talents are giving it to other countries, and other countries are benefiting. And me, I approve of that. If you want to read pharmacy ever in this life of yours, read it outside this country, practice outside this country. In Ghana, things are a mess. MESS in capital letters with 20 exclamation signs following. So thank you today for listening to me rant and go into the truth, the debunking and refuting of the lies. Thank you so much. And I will repeat my advice. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are going to allow any family member of yours read pharmacy, make sure they're doing it outside Ghana. If it is Togo, let them go. Ghana, here for here. Unnecessary stress to say. Yeah, boy.